As the Marvel Cinematic Universe expands, so too does its massive roster of Hollywood talent. Amongst these thespians are a whole slew of part-time voice actors, such as Olivia Colman, currently set to star in Secret Invasion, who also lent her voice to the villainous Pal in the recent Mitchells vs. the Machines. So, let's take a look at 10 other MCU actors who have already made their mark on the franchise and who have also stretched their vocal cords. Ew, that's not a saying. Gross. Anyway, my boss told me that I have to include Benedict Cumbersnack somewhere on this list, so let's just start off with a big old cheat. Doctor Strange himself actually has dual roles in his eponymous outing, playing both Strange and this big bad boss boy over here, Dormammu.
But you will suffer.
Bored.
What?
Bored!
No.
Bonus entry for those who think this is a bit of a cheap shot that doesn't even work in context of the video. Cumber Ranch Dressing also had dual roles in Peter Jackson's Hobbit trilogy, not only playing Scrooge McDuck's animality Smaug,
You have nice manners.
but also the Necromancer, who various wizards fight and junk, who of course would go on to become Sauron. Presumably that one meant less writhing around on a table. And hell, I could make a whole list of characters Cumber Scratch has played using them dulcet tones of his. Agent Classified in Penguins of Madagascar, Shere Khan and Mowgli, Daddy in The Tiger Who Came to Tea, the Grinch in, well, the Grinch, and of course the Dark Lord himself, Satan in Good Omens. All great roles, but that Dormammu trivia goes over like gangbusters at parties. Not that I've been able to really use it recently, but moving on. Fellow iconic facial hair owner Robert Downey Jr. is well known for a variety of interesting roles throughout his career, including Charlie freaking Chaplin, which this is just an excuse for me to use some clippies for that delightful little biopic. I love that movie. But did you know he's even shown up in Fox's biggest animated franchise that isn't The Simpsons?
Oh, when I was just a little boy, I had a very traumatic experience.
Yeah, Downey showed up in Family Guy. Turns out his son was a fan of the show back in its heyday, and he called up the production to see if he could be a part of the show in any way. This led to the introduction in Season 4 of Patrick Pewderschmidt, Lois's long-lost brother, and as we come to find out, the nefarious Fat Guy Strangler. Robert Downey Jr. only showed up for the one episode back in 2005, during that short career resurgence just before he became, well, you know.
I am Iron Man.
Since then, his only other voice work is literally as Iron Man in that movie's video game, which is too bad. He's no Billy West, but that dude's got some good voice chops. Loki himself, Tom Hiddleston, has also lent his silky smooth vocal cords to Family Guy. He makes an extremely brief cameo as a statue of Peter Griffin's ancestor.
Did you kill the painting?
This place is a nut house.
But he's also voiced a young and definitely not gonna turn evil version of Captain Hook in this weird Tinkerbell movie. And more recently, he brought his villainous tones to Aardman Animation's early Man as the villainous Lord Nooth.
Excellent.
Really, either of these could count as characters you didn't know were voiced by Hiddleston, since neither exactly set the world on fire, but I'm gonna crown Early Man as the official entry for Loki on this list, if only because I think you should go watch Early Man. It's not Aardman's best work, but they put together one hell of a good stop-motion comedy. And Hiddleston is just a delight as the bad guy. As for that Tinkerbell movie, look, I have a toddler, so I'm saving it for when I have time to watch the same movie all day, every day for several straight months. I'm sure it's fine? God, I hope so. Everyone's other favorite Tom, this one of the Holland variety, has been racking up the voice acting gigs in recent years, appearing in Disney's Onward as well as Spies in Disguise, and he even reprised his role as Tony Stark's lapdog in Dolittle. But if you look closely at his filmography, you'll also see that in his even younger years, starting out in acting, he lent his voice to the UK version of Studio Ghibli's The Secret World of Arrietty. They're simply titled Arrietty, wherein he voiced the lead human character, Sho. Also along for the ride was Olivia Colman, so boom, one of many, many bonus entries. And if you were curious, yes, true to form, Tom did spoil the entire film in this behind-the-scenes interview. You know, Scarlett Johansson can be a real dog. Whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, like in a movie. Come on. I love Black Widow. Well, I love the character. I assume I'll love the movie. Anyway, yeah, Johansson played the morbid and straightforward Nutmeg in Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs, which for me is top 5 Anderson. But that might just be because, well, I love dogs.
You don't have to worry about me. Good night.
More famously, she's also voiced the porcupine Ash in Sing, as well as the villainous Kaa in 2016's The Jungle Book. But none of those are my selection for this entry. Instead, I have one you might have just plain forgotten. Johansson voiced Princess Mindy, daughter of King Neptune, in the now classic Spongebob SquarePants the movie back in 2004. Legend has it that she still can't get that damn Goofy Goober song out of her head, making her one of the most relatable of all MCU actors. So originally I was going to include the fun fact that Tessa Thompson played Lady in 2019's Lady and the Tramp, and then I realized that I was a big old dumb because those dogs are mostly just real dogs with a little CGI talkie-talk magic added in post, so darn. That's let's just go with another anime on this one. Ronan the Destroyer actor Lee Pace voiced Keisuke Suga in the English dub for a whole other 2019 flick, Weathering with You, which won Best Animated Film at the Japanese Academy Awards. Chances are, if you love anime, you've already sought this one out, but if not, definitely give it a go. If you're into teen romance, science fiction mumbo-jumbo, and weather manipulation, boy howdy, this one's for you. From one of the least memorable villains to a hero who's gone down in history, let's talk Captain America. Well, the first Captain America, I guess. Chris Evans. Dude's a total rock star, but his voice acting resume is pretty slim pickings. However, you might have forgotten that the dude played none other than hockey mask-wearing ninja smasher Casey Jones in 2007's TMNT.
Wasn't that hard, man. You know, you look like a big metal turtle.
This oft-forgotten reboot also featured a villainous turn from Patrick Stewart, who sure isn't part of the MCU, but if we could just get some gosh darn multiverse shenanigans going on, that could soon change. Back to villains, Red Skull wasn't the first baddie portrayed by Hugo Weaving. In fact, he kinda has a lock on the market, come to think of it. He's even lent his voice to a big bad, and I'm not talking about Agent Smith during the badass pseudo-Dragon Ball fight at the end of Matrix Revolutions. Weaving voiced Megatron in the first 3 Michael Bay-directed Transformers flicks. If you didn't know that or forgot, that's understandable. He's barely discernible in the role. And hey, if this is another one that has you going, bro, I knew that already, how about this? He also voiced Bill Barnacle in 2000's The Magic Pudding, which,
He's an ever-ending source of inspiration. No recipe on...
Yeah. Ooh, bonus entry. That one also stars fake Odin himself, Sam Neill. The movie's based on a classic Aussie book of the same name about a magical pudding that always regenerates in its original form after being eaten. Australia, you're wild. In more recent voice acting goodness, let's take a look at Doctor Strange's very own Benedict Wong, who has shown up in all kinds of great flicks like Sunshine and The Martian, and not so great flicks that have their fan base, and you know what, I respect that. Anyway, he voiced the lovable warrior Tong in Raya and the Last Dragon, a role that really let him play around and have fun, as well as craft a standout character in a film full of them.
Of course you love Mango.
It's not the biggest role in the world, but dude cracks me up. And finally, this list wouldn't be complete without the fact that War Machine himself, Don Cheadle, voiced Donald Duck. That's right, he showed up in a 2018 episode of DuckTales, which also features noted MCU cameo actor Danny Pudi.
Larry, I'm on DuckTales.
Cheadle voiced Donald after he's given a Barksian modulator, which not only gives him the voice of an action star, but also the motivational skills to help the team proceed with their mission to stop the villainous Magica Dispel. He would later return to voice Donald again in the 2020 Quack Pack episode, in which our intrepid mallards become trapped in a TV sitcom.
No. This office has the best light to capture the glint of the buttons on the outfits.
Spoilers for that episode, turns out this is partially the work of Gene the Genie, a character last seen in DuckTales the movie, Treasure of the Lost Lamp. That 1990 mini-classic, which I watched to the point of exhaustion as a kid, also starred Christopher Lloyd as the villain. Now obviously Christopher Lloyd is not in the MCU, but I needed some overly complicated way to demand that happen. Get on it, Disney. Meanwhile, Captain Marvel herself, Brie Larson, has yet to dip her toe into any major animated productions, but she did voice I Need a Z-Pack Penguin in Bob Saget's questionable 2006 parody flick, Farce of the Penguins. It's a movie.
Definitely not.